YouTube, it's Survivor Nomad, and I am at you guys with another video. Out for my daily walk. I actually went for a jog today, which is kind of nice because I haven't run in forever, so it's really nice. It is such a beautiful day out here, and I decided that yeah, it'd be a great time to kind of talk to you guys. So we talk a lot about different ways of trying to overcome narcissistic abuse, and there's something that I overlooked recently. I am usually journaling. When I'm reading the Bible, I will write down my thoughts. I have a journal book that has Bible verses on each page, different Bible verses. It's like not a daily planner, but more like a journal. And it's like 365 days of the Bible, and each day at the bottom of the page has Bible verses. So I will generally write my feelings as it pertains to spirituality and just how I'm feeling, how I'm growing, how I'm developing spiritually in this journal. And I thought about that practice, and I think it would be a good idea to write letters to ourselves. For empaths, for codependents, for survivors, for people who are currently in situations with narcissists and who are currently experiencing abuse, I think it is very healthy to do a stream of consciousness writing, or what I like to call automatic writing, where you just start. You take a pen or pencil, you put it to paper, and you just write everything you're feeling. It's kind of like a purge. It's kind of like getting out everything that's inside of you. This is really healthy, guys. And I remember when I was in a really bad situation with an abusive person, this was one of the things that helped me to cope. This was one of the few things that I actually felt better after doing. There wasn't a whole lot in that relationship that made me feel good, but this was one of the things that helped me to really refocus and recenter myself. The other thing was running. I ran a lot. I ran until eventually I ran for my life. Like, I literally used running as therapy, and it helped me to get through a lot of really tough times. And if you have the privilege to be able to run during this time, then I would highly recommend that for you. But I think even more helpful than running, it certainly doesn't come with the physical health benefits, but it came with an internal release. It came with a peacefulness. It was almost like talking to my best friend. The only thing is, the best friend happened to be myself. It was a letter to me. One other thing that these letters did, I would collect them and I would hide them. I would hide them inside of my pillowcase. I would hide them inside of books. I had about 500 books. And I was a book hoarder. I loved books. I would buy books even if I knew that I wouldn't have time to read them. I would buy them just because I loved them. And I hid some of these letters inside books. I would hide them anywhere I could where I thought my abuser couldn't find them. And sometimes I would go back during times of trouble. Let's just say something was going on and I was feeling hurt, or you guys know all the things that happen when you're with the person who is just not treating you like you deserve. You have ups and downs. You have days where you just don't feel that great about yourself, and you need something to uplift you. You need something to remind you that you're beautiful. You need something to remind you that you're a caretaker and that the world needs more caring people like you. You need something to remind you that you deserved more. And these letters were my reminders. They were encouraging to me. I would even write down things that were happening in day-to-day life with this person that upset me, and it helped me to get it out. You guys know that when you're with a narcissist, you can't talk to them. It's like talking to a brick wall. A lot of times they will not apologize ever because they just don't see that they've done anything wrong. But more often than not, sometimes they will give you a lighthearted, empty apology that sounds something like, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I'm sorry that statement hurt you." And it's kind of empty. It's kind of, it's a removal of responsibility from themselves. And so when you get that, you feel that it's inauthentic, it's not real, and you know that this person is likely not at all sorry. And how do you know that? Because they generally repeat the behavior again. So having this journal and writing and making this practice of writing yourself a letter, think of it as writing yourself a letter. You can go back to these letters, guys, and look at them and kind of see what were some of the things going on. What were even some of the behaviors that you did that probably weren't the best for you, probably weren't the smartest time in your life. It probably wasn't the most positive time in your life. It probably wasn't the healthiest time in your life. You probably did a lot of things that you want to look back on. You want to read and say, wow, I did that. I don't want to make that mistake again. Having a thought in your mind, and oftentimes we forget our behavior, but if you write things down, you can reference them. I would often date the top of the letter, and I would write things on the letter, or write things down. And sometimes I would write this in my Bible journal, which is why I mentioned it. And then I would use the Bible verses to help me and to uplift me and to build me up. And guys, this kept me alive. It literally kept me alive. And some of you know what I'm talking about when I say you just feel empty during those times when you're enduring all of this abuse and it's happening day after day after day. And a lot of times you don't have an outlet because you're not allowed to talk to friends or family. And even if you could talk to them, and this is a sad reality, sometimes they're not going to understand what you're going through. They're not really going to be able to empathize with you because they don't get it. A lot of them will say, well, why don't you just leave? They cannot understand the intricacies of this type of abuse. They cannot understand how insidious it is. And, it's likened to a frog in a boiling pot of water. It starts slowly. The frog never notices that he's boiling until he's actually boiling. And that is how insidious this abuse is. And so with that being said, this letter, it can be a lifesaver, especially, like I said, for you guys who are still in the situation. It is a form of therapy, and it can help you to not only get through the tough times, but even looking back on it, it can help you learn from your behaviors. It can help you learn the red flags for future relationships so that you don't walk into the same type of people who mistreat you, and not really be able to reference and pull back and pull like, this happened before. This is probably not the kind of person I want to share my life with. This person did and said these similar things, and we know that narcissists have a guidebook that they go by. A lot of them have very similar behaviors, and they do some of the same things, and they say some of the same things. So having this diary, having this notebook, this journal where you can write these things out, it allows you to take pictures, snapshots in time of what's happening in your life for you to look back on and reflect on it. One of the upsides of this as well is the fact that you can look and see your progress. A lot of times we don't notice our progress when we're in the thick of it. But if you have this journal, you can look and see your progress. You can see how far you've come, how much you've learned, how much you have endured. That builds strength in itself. When you look back and you can see how strong you are, how beautiful you are. You can encourage yourself. You can say, I went through this a few months ago, but now I'm able to stand up to this narcissist and tell them, absolutely not. You're not going to tell me what to wear. You're not going to control me. You're not going to tell me that I can't talk to my family. Maybe it's just as simple as walking out on an argument without the fear of the repercussions that will come because they do punish you. Things like that. You can document those things and build yourself up. Use this journal as a letter to yourself and as a guide to help you to avoid these kinds of people and these kinds of situations in the future. So that is all, guys. I just wanted to talk to you guys about writing a letter to yourself. And I hope that it encourages someone. I hope that it inspires someone. And I hope that it helps you. I will see you guys on the other side of abuse. Have a good day. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family. Thank you.